The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is brought to you by MagnaFlow Exhaust Products. We're back here in Little Rock, Arkansas for the Short Track Nationals, and time to speak now with one of the best, the ASCS.
It's all about just timing. You got to have good timing. You know, you got to be able to have a car that can go places where they're not. It's not always easy, especially here. The way they prepare the track early in the night, it's always sticky. You know, really, it's just a fine line. You know, you got to have a car that'll go where they're not, but you can't have it so tight that it won't go around these tight corners. So it's greasy in the middle of the night, like early in the night, and then later in the night, it gets really slick, hard to get a hold of. So it goes from one extreme to the other. So you got to be able to stay on top of that, and that's why I said it's hard for a crew chief to do that, because these cars aren't easy to set up, and when they're not set up, they're not very easy to drive. So it's a tough track for sure.
So some great information there out of one of the best, and Shane Stewart would love to win this one here. Of course, he's been close. He's finished in second, but he's never picked up the main event win.
First, he has to get in. He'll line up inside row number 3 there in our third qualifier. Jason Sides out in front, former winner of this event, would lead him down into turn number 3.
Jason Sides, who picked up his one and only Short Track Nationals win back in 2001. Also finished third in 98, sixth in 2002. Knows how to get around this place and knows how to deal with the pressure. But the 57 car, I'll tell you, man, the guy is a true champion, and he also knows how to deal with it. It's just merely dealing with this depth of talent. There's a number of very, very good race cars and good race car drivers out here. Was picking away at it right there as he was trying to get around the number 22 car.
Of course, that is the Hurricane, Randy Hannigan, back in another Short Track Nationals. It would be trouble for Eric Lutz. Nice little drifting style 360 there. Would continue on off turn 2. Also, Eric Baldacini would loop it out. He would come to a stop.
And we're talking about guys that are seasoned veterans. These aren't rookies out here spinning these things around. We heard Shane Stewart say how greasy it can be as you take a look at him right there. Unfortunately, he will not make the show here tonight. Jason Sides and Dustin Morgan both advance to the A, and we go into qualifier number 4.
Currently second in National Tour points, Brady Bacon on the pole for the 12-lap qualifier, number 4 of 7. The final night of the Short Track Nationals as the green flag would come out. Bad to the bone would lead him in turn 1.
Danny Wood also up in there in the hunt. Cody Gardner would battle with him. Danny Wood in the number 94 car. Brady Bacon trying to get a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, Cody Gardner would get to the inside there of Danny Wood, take over that second and final transfer spot. Go on board with Wood, courtesy of Rockstar.
Jonathan Cornell, the number 28, was sitting back there as well, just waiting for somebody to make a mistake, and finally would start battling there with Danny Wood to try and get that position to run up there and battle for second.
Yeah, you can really see that car hook up as Danny Wood slides around on the back of Cornell, comes to a stop as the red lights would come on, a car getting upside down on the racetrack, so they would stop everybody. We'll take another look at it. And Andy Houston in the 40H. Nice little roll over there in turn 4. So they would stop all the cars, and as everybody slowed down, Danny Wood, not ready to slow down, got on the back of Cornell, and once you spin out, go to the tail, it's very tough to get back to the front.
Yeah, if these guys just hammer the brake like that, man, it immediately wants to spin these things around. They do have radios with race control. Maybe he just didn't hear it. Brady Bacon back out front one more time, making it look easy.
So the checker flag would come out. Bacon would get the win and move on to his second career Short Track Nationals A-Main. Cody Gardner would also find his way in. Cornell, Wood, and Covington not make the big show.
Tim Schaefer's one of the competitors out here, and to say he is having a good season would be putting it mildly. He won what some call the biggest race of all time.
It's in this day and age, it's very hard to accomplish what we have. We've been very lucky, very fortunate. You know, we'll set ourselves up for next year the same way. We're going to try to do the same thing, and you hope for the best. We got to make it happen. We're going to do our best we can. Need to drive by cars and get up there. Hey, the track might allow it, might not. We might have our car good enough, we might not. But I'll tell you, we're going to give 100%.
He won the 50th running of the Knoxville Nationals, of course, also an all-star champion. This is his third short track national, started on the outside pole here in our 5th qualifier.
Tim Kading filling in for the injured Travis Rylett would lead him down in turn to number 1. It'd be the Kading and Schaefer show here early. You can see that 83 car backing it in to work that low part of the racetrack.
Great audio there, and that's an awesome wheel stand, one of the best we've ever seen as these guys started getting these things hooked up. Talk about make some horsepower when you do wheel stands on the dirt, and I mean big ones, dragging a back bumper. There's some horsepower there.
Current Rookie of the Year contender with the National Tour, Kyle Hurst, running in that 3rd spot, trying to get by Tim Kading, who runs in 2nd. Again, only the top 2 would move on.
The adjustable wings on them, these things can be adjusted while they're out there on the track. Jack Dover also doing an incredible job throughout the season, always a tough competitor. Back up to Schaefer.
Tim Schaefer, a little bit of smoke coming off the right rear, the rubber being laid down here at I-30 Speedway, would pick up the win. Tim Kading would come home in the 2nd spot.
And there's the results for 5th qualifier, courtesy of Geico. The Lucas Oil Motorsports Hour is brought to you by General Tire. Unleash the fury. Qualifier number 6 of 7. Here at the Rockstar Energy Drink, Arkansas Sprint Nationals, presented by Geico.
You see the 41 right now in 3rd spot. 1 spot out looking in. That is the Cajun sensation, Jason Johnson, as Jeff Swindell would lead David Gravel on lap number 1.
A couple of Swindells with us. Of course, everybody's familiar with Sammy, but Jeff Swindell is also in the house and very talented. There's a look at him there with the number 90, the red wing on top.
Start to see a little smoke off the right rear. That's right, the rubber has been laid down, and Jason Johnson doing all he can to try and get into the show. As we go on board.
Replaying there as he roasts that right rear. Jason Johnson doing everything he can. You see the 89G of David Gravel. Last lap, it was on. The leader, number 90, and right behind him, that is the final transfer spot. Gravel trying to hang on to it.
Gravel would hold off Jason Johnson as Jeff Swindell would take the win. David Gravel would come home 2nd, and the former Short Track Nationals winner, current point leader with the National Tour, Jason Johnson, would not make the A main event.
Missed it by 1 spot. And then we go to our final qualifier.
Justin Carver in the 24 on the pole alongside the 10A of Ricky Logan. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also in this one, the 141 teammate to Jason Johnson. Darren Stewart in the 90 Wood would get to the inside there. Joe Wood Jr. getting by Ricky Stenhouse as well.
And these things really become a handful. Oh, and talk about backing one in. That's what happens right there. And a couple of those guys, unfortunately, doing exactly that. And you take a look at the 03, that is Joe Wood Jr. just roasting the right rear.
And Justin Carver would pick up the win in the 7th and final qualifier. Ricky Logan would finish in that 2nd and final transfer spot. Sammy Swindell here on the grounds, one of the legend, having a pretty good year here in 2010.
I'm given the opportunity to do really what the things I need to do, you know, like when I've had some other owners that just like give me the keys and say, there you go, just do your best. So Todd Quiring has gave me that opportunity to put this team together the way I see fit. So it makes everything fit, you know, and if it doesn't succeed, it's my fault. So, but you know, I've been pretty successful in the past doing things this way, and you know, I can't see why it won't continue. I mean, we unloaded our car, we were good. We made very few changes the other night, and just the normal things I would do, you know, from the notes and stuff I've run here in the past. So we kind of know what to expect. Generally, you know, the tracks can be different, but you know, I've got enough experience, hopefully, to know, you know, where to be and where the racetrack is going to be, you know, when we're out there on it.
It's always tough to beat, no matter where he is at. Well, Dave Argerbright, looks like they are changing track conditions here. Fill us in.
Thanks, Ken. Track conditions, the big story shaping up here at the Short Track Nationals. This record number of entries, 123, they flat wore out this racetrack. It made very difficult conditions, made it very hard to pass in the qualifier races, and consequently we've got some of the big names, the guys we expected to maybe win this thing, on the outside looking in. It was shaping up to be such a difficult feature that track officials made a decision to rework this racetrack at the 11th hour right before this feature event to scrape off all that rubber that had built up in the surface from all that racing. Hopefully that'll give us a nice two-lane racetrack. The big question mark right now, this is a very unusual step for this racetrack. Most guys at race here have said they've never seen them do it quite like this before. We really don't know what it's going to be. This is going to be another great guessing game here at the Short Track Nationals. The question is, who guesses right?
Well, Dave mentioned it too. 125 cars from 22 states and Australia. Needless to say, these guys have been busy.
And it's a huge guessing game. Whether you know what you're doing or whether you don't know what you're doing, the crew chiefs right now are thinking, man, hope we guessed right.
It's going to get busy here in just a moment. The A main is up next. Stay with us here at Arkansas.